Morning everyone, how's it all going? Today we are going to be working again on my W204 C200 Kompressor wagon. This car's been amazing, it's been fantastic, it's been really reliable. I've had it for about 6 years and it's only really needed a couple of things, but it's getting a little bit older now. So it's a 2010, so that means it's actually 13 years old now, and there's some common issues with these cars that crop up once they get this old. Mine's done almost 150,000 Ks, so it's actually done pretty well already. So what are we going to be doing today? Well, we are going to be changing the idler pulley, which is this little fella here, and also the serpentine belt, or the accessory belt on the car. I believe the accessory belt may be original, I'm not 100% sure. Certainly the pulley is original, so it's definitely time to sort that out and to change that. Alright, I'll show you how to do that. Alright everyone, so we're under the bonnet of the C200, and you might be wondering, okay, well how do I know that this pulley needs to be replaced? You know, it looks fine, it looks good, there's a little bit of dust, but apart from that there's nothing really majorly wrong. Well, it's pretty simple. You just have to wiggle the pulley. Can you see that movement there? So it's not bad. I mean, it's definitely not the worst pulley that I've ever seen, but considering it's done 150,000 Ks, it's probably time for a change. The other reason I think this needs to be changed as well is because, especially on cold startup, I noticed that it does make a bit of noise, and the noise is not from before. Like when I first bought the car 6 years ago, it definitely didn't make that sort of noise on startup. The car's a bit warm now, so I can't really show you that noise, but just trust me, it's like a chugging, like kind of noise when you start the car when it's idling. So you know, I think it's time to change. And the belt as well, I'm pretty sure that's not necessarily really old, not necessarily original, but I certainly haven't changed it in the last 6 years of ownership. So you know, while I've got this all out, you know, I'm gonna have to take the belt out anyway to get the pulley out. I might as well just change the belt while I'm there. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is actually detension the belt. So you can see the tensioner is right there. That's the pulley for the tensioner. Right there. Had a check before, and I think the tensioner is fine. The pulley seems fine. So I'm not going to bother changing that this time. What you need is a T60 socket. And you'll have to do this by feel, but there is the T60 space, or T60 socket, to put your bit into the socket further down on the actual tensioner, and then we're just going to use a power bar to detension the belt. Alright, so here's the current setup. I've actually taken the air intake hose off. You just need to press these little tabs in and then it comes off pretty easy. And I've also got my T60 bit plugged into the tensioner. You can see that down there. My bit is pretty long, it's about this long, so I'm hoping that this little contraption that I've made is going to be enough to reach the bit and allow me to untension the tensioner. Alright, awesome. So I've got everything plugged in, and you can see my breaker bar is now connected to the bit, and if I move this, then you'll see the tensioner moving as well. And so that untensions the belt, and then we should be able to get the belt off and remove the pulley as well. Oh, sorry, one more thing I forgot to mention. Before you take the belt off, take a photo of the existing routing of the belt, just so that you know roughly where the belt goes, because quite often it's actually quite hard to figure out exactly where the belt goes in these sort of accessory belt situations. You can also have a look online, but it's easy just to take a photo and then you have something to refer back to. Alright, awesome. So now that we've got the belt loose, we can work on the pulley quite easily. You will need an E-Torx socket like this. So this is an E12. Isn't it an E12? Yeah, it is an E12. And then you can just put the socket on and then hopefully get the pulley off. Oh, hold on, let me get the socket on. Alright, two hands for that. Alright, that's pretty loose already. It's not too hard to remove. And then we just have to unwind the rest of it by hand. Careful not dropping anything into the under tray. Alright. Sweet, there we go, that's out. Yeah, it does look pretty dirty. I mean, this is probably where the majority of the dirt goes in the engine, so that's probably why it's a little bit messed up. Yeah, you can definitely feel, well, once it's off the car. Oh, actually it's not too bad. The new one feels like that too. Cool. Alright, so we're almost there. I've managed to get the new serpentine belt with a new accessory belt onto the car. The routing was a little bit more complicated than expected, so I'm going to flash up a diagram on the video just so that you can also see how to route it. And now we're ready to put the pulley on. So what's interesting is that there is actually quite a lot of movement in the tensioner here, so you are going to have to untension the belt quite a bit in order to put the pulley on. The other thing is I'm also going to put some Loctite, just some blue Loctite on the bolt just so that it doesn't come undone, and then yeah, should be all good to go. Alright, so you want to just tighten up the pulley once you have it on. Now I'm going to suggest you don't tighten it up too much because you may have to remove this again at one point, and the fact that we have some Loctite on there is going to help to keep it in place anyway. But yeah, just do a bit of a hand tighten. Yep, just make sure it's nice and snug in there, and that should be plenty of torque to keep that in place. Sweet, and as you can see, the belt is looking good as well. It's going through all the different accessories and all the different pulleys, and it looks pretty much the same as before. I do like the look of this belt. It looks like it's much higher quality than the last one because it's got like this little fabric kind of pattern on it, which is really nice. And now all we have to do is start the car and just give it a test. Alright everyone, so here's the final result. Make sure you start your car and double check everything. I actually had the crank pulley not seated properly on the belt when I first started the car, so I stopped the car immediately after that and fixed that. So just make sure that all the ribs are in the grooves correctly, and that the belt looks like it's working and it's all completely fine. So now it should be all good. Should be good for another, I don't know, 100,000 Ks, 150,000 Ks. This car just keeps going and going and going. I wanted to replace it, but look, it's actually doing a great job, so I'm going to keep it for a bit longer and hopefully have a few more project things to do, a few more fixes, DIY fixes for you. Alright, awesome, thanks for joining me, and see you next time on Louis' Garage.